Hello folks, it's Friday, believe it or not. We made it. It's Friday, March 31st, 2023. As usual, it's me, Jake Baldino, here to talk about all the video game news that's been going on this week. And it's been quite a week because the first story is that E3 is officially canceled once again. Yes, this was supposed to be the first in-person event since the last in-person E3 2019. And we've gotten rumors and rumblings and then official announcements of a lot of companies just not getting involved with E3. Most recently, leading up to this, we had announcements that Ubisoft wasn't doing an E3 thing, then like big publisher heavyweight like Tencent and a few others. And then it was officially announced between ReedPop, the people putting on the convention, and the ESA, E3 2023 is canceled. They said, and I quote, E3 2023 will not take place as scheduled this June, with both physical and digital events canceled. Alongside the Entertainment Software Association, both parties will reevaluate the future of E3. A lot of people are saying this is the end of it, and that's probably the case for a while, but I see the reanimated corpse of E3, the branding. It's going to get dragged out at some point, but this marks a big industry shift, specifically because publishers are realizing that they can do their own thing. They can put out their own live stream, hold their own little events, and not spend a ton of money going to E3, and just use the internet to get their games to more people. Still, for a lot of people, it was a dream to one day go to E3 back in the 90s, the 2000s, when it was hyped up in video game magazines and stuff as this like mecca of video game news. It definitely is that. I feel like it was like an honor and a privilege to be able to go to that shit. But things changes, and it seems like ReedPop, who I was excited to take this on and kind of change things up, just apparently couldn't really get it off the ground or get publisher interest, because the head of the ESA actually did an interview with gamesindustry.biz. Stanley Pierre-Louis said, we were off to a strong start. There was interest among exhibitors, industry players, media, and certainly the fans. Ultimately, however, there were challenges that proved too large to surmount. He blamed specifically three things. Number one, the COVID-19 and all the lockdowns and stuff, and how that has kind of messed up development and things going forward. I get that, but things have kind of gotten past that. We've had pretty consistent game releases and stuff like that. But number two, he said the changing economics with companies trying to shore up costs and really kind of try and look towards the headwinds and anticipate things. We've talked so much in the past couple of weeks about layoffs and stuff like that. And I've even heard from people just that companies are really trying to avoid spending money on these lavish, crazy events while also just laying off tons of people. Maybe it's them just trying to save face. It's like PR stuff, but yeah, that checks out. And then his third reason is what we discussed earlier. Just the fact that developers, publishers are realizing that they can do their own things, whether they try and find a balance between like live stream things or in-person things. It's moved beyond E3 at this point. Those are his reasons why E3 is canceled. There are a lot more reasons, both just analytically and also just stuff going on behind the scenes. But ultimately, that's where that's out. Poor one for E3. I feel like we've talked about E3 being canceled so many times with COVID and everything like that, but this time feels like it was going to be like the big return, and nope. I just like having that opportunity where I knew there was a bunch of E3 things and I would like take off work and sit on my computer or sit on the couch and like watch all the news. But at the very least, we are still getting stuff. It's worth pointing out that Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest event thing is going down June 8th, so mark your calendars for that. Publishers are signed up to announce things during that live stream event type of thing. And then, of course, Microsoft, we do know, is doing something. It's now officially going to be June 11th, and it's going to be a Xbox showcase announcement type thing that they usually do every year around E3, as well as a Starfield event, like a whole thing focused on Starfield that they previously talked about. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And of course, there's a bunch of other stuff in June-ish that will probably be announced. Like, stuff is still probably going to go down, but expect it to be spread out because every publisher wants to have their own time for their shit to shine. Looking forward to hear your thoughts or memories around E3 or whatever, but let's move on. Of course, it wouldn't be a week of this show without a game delay, and this time it's Atlas Fallen, which has been pushed to August 10th. This, for those of you that don't know, is the new game from the people behind The Surge, a game I really like, but this is more of a big open-world action-adventure type one. I actually got to play this at the convention I was at last weekend, PAX East, and it seems very old school. It kind of reminds me of like an Xbox 360, PS3, just straightforward action game where you're this cool brute guy running around. You kind of look like a Todd McFarlane character. I still need to see more. There are other previews out there that go more in-depth, but I do talk about this game and a bunch of other games I got to play, like the new Aliens RTS and Gollum and Donkey's new game Animal Well. I did like a PAX East video that I'll link in the description down below on my other YouTube channel, Jake Baldino. Baldino if you want to check that out. But the possible bigger delay is more of a rumor. We maybe have a good look at Assassin's Creed Mirage's release window because it's seemingly pushed. Now, this comes from a unknown source. It's technically a Ubisoft leaker who has leaked some things, like some Avatar game things, so that's worth pointing out. There is somewhat of a track record. It is Script Leaks R6 who kind of implies that it may be delayed out of 2023 and into 2024. So as of right now, Mirage might be a 2024 game. It's interesting because we haven't seen anything about it. We talked about this, I think, a week or two ago. Like, we know it's coming. It was supposed to be coming soon, but we haven't seen an inch of anything. Was this going to be something that Ubisoft would announce in the summer months? I don't know, but this report doesn't commit to it being delayed to 2024, but says that it seems likely. Which, again, I'm all for publishers taking their time and making the game good and not a mess. But this was one I was actually looking forward to seeing as someone who is just like this old school Assassin's Creed weirdo. I want them to play more like the old games and less like the big new RPGs. So this sounded like the game for me, but I guess I'm going to have to possibly wait a little longer if these rumors are true. Of course, take them with a grain of salt, but yeah. Next up, in case you missed it, Nintendo had a whole breakdown for Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom with Aonuma himself sitting down and kind of doing a let's play, if you will, of the game. We got 10 minutes or so of gameplay breaking down a lot of features and how it'll all flow. We got a look at the game world, Hyrule looking similar, but surrounded by, of course, areas that you can quickly access with a little magic trick, like these floating islands that look very different from anything from Breath of the Wild, but also this big fusion system where you're going to be able to take things in the environment and use your magic abilities with your hand to kind of create new objects. Not only weapons, but also that's how you're going to build weird boats and car type things that we saw in the last trailer. I've seen a lot of takes on this one. I don't know how I feel yet. I'm going to play it. I've seen some people say this doesn't feel different enough from Breath of the Wild since it's been so long. I knew it was going to be just kind of like a building on top of that. I'm still going to play it, but I want to know how you guys feel. Is Tears of the Kingdom a big enough change up for you? What do you think about the new stuff? They're going big on player experimentation. I didn't expect them to go that route, but it seems cool. It seems like a good reason to use a lot of the weird objects you would pick up in the old game for more than just cooking or stuff like that. But hey, with Zelda, or specifically these Zelda games, I always get the vibe that there's still so much more weird secrets and stuff to uncover. That was certainly the case when we got our hands on Breath of the Wild, but yeah. Oh, now in other news, we got the release of The Last of Us Part 1 on PC. I was really excited for a lot of people because a lot of PC players have been waiting to play this game for years and years. And we did a quick before you buy, a quick look at the game on launch, and the PC version seems to be in a very, very rough state. Now, credit to Naughty Dog. They said they're working on it. They already put out a patch. We haven't been able to test that one out yet. I expect it's going to take a couple of patches to fix this. The glitches, the weird stuff have been wild out there. You've probably seen the screenshots and stuff. For us, not a lot of glitches, not too much crashing. It was really just performance. It was really hard to get the game at a consistent frame rate, especially with good hardware. It was ultimately pretty disappointing. So Sony's track record with PC releases is kind of all over the place. Some are great, some not so much. I was hoping that The Last of Us, their golden goose, would have better treatment out of the gate. Hopefully they get it to a good state because I know so many people were looking forward to this. There are some people out there who haven't really had many problems though, so if you're those people, props to you. Hope you're enjoying the game. Let us know what you think. Speaking of PC news, it's worth pointing out that Steam is officially getting Dolphin. Yes, the Dolphin emulator is now officially listed on Steam. You can't technically get it yet, but it's been pre-listed there. So this is the GameCube Wii emulator that has, of course, been a thing, been in the works for many years. This Steam release is going to feature a bunch of really cool features like save states and like just a bunch of good stuff. The developers have described it all, and it is worth pointing out that they very carefully disclaim downloading Dolphin emulator on Steam does not get you any games. That's what you have to do on your end. You know what I mean? It'll support 4K displays, regular controllers, some stuff for online multiplayer, mod support, slow motion, multiple save states. It's pretty good. Nice to see that on there. Kind of makes sense. Just be quiet. We don't want Nintendo's lawyers to come after this. Anyway, let's move on. Speaking of the GameCube, the Resident Evil 4 remake, it's out. I just kind of wanted to talk about it. Not really news. People have been jumping into it, but a lot of cool surprises have been unveiled, of course, by streamers, players out there, most notably simply shooting the bell in the beginning. If like you're New Game Plus and you have the rifle, you can aim towards a distant tower and shoot a bell to let the bell ring and then just completely skip the rest of the opening village fight, which is really cool. I've also seen a really good one with somebody using the new like line thrower gun, the launcher gun, to plant mines at a spot where the zealot will spawn to pull the lever and then cue that whole annoying sequence. If you put the mines there before he comes over, the sequence skipped, which is great. There's probably a lot of other secrets to be discovered with this game, so it's been really fun to follow along. I just wanted to talk about the game because we reviewed it like 2-3 weeks ago at this point, so I'm glad people are finally getting into it. Of course, if you want to check out our videos on it, I'll link those in the description. But also this week, it's worth pointing out that the Tetris movie has dropped. This is on Apple TV+. According to some reviewers out there, like friend of the show, Jeremy Johns, it's worth at least getting the Apple like free trial subscription thing to watch it. This is like a dramatized version of the real story of how we got Tetris, how Tetris essentially got out of the Iron Curtain. It's this wild legal battle, but it seems like a great movie. I'm going to kick back and watch it this weekend. So yeah, that's not like a paid shout out or anything. I just thought it was interesting. I've been wanting to watch this one for a while. Oh, and worth pointing out, CD Projekt Red has done an announcement for an announcement. They essentially came out on socials and said, hey, are you looking forward to the new Cyberpunk expansion? Like Project Liberty? What is it called? Phantom? Sounds like a Metal Gear game. Phantom Liberty? Sorry, Phantom Liberty expansion? Are you looking forward to that? Well, you'll be able to find out more when we talk about it in June. So there you go. And again, it's a lot of things right now. All signs pointing to June for a bunch of big gaming news announcements. Will we get more of this Phantom Liberty expansion at the Summer Game Fest event? Or their own thing? Who knows? And one other interesting thing I wanted to link that you should check out is about artificial intelligence, or AI art, used in games. This comes from a prolific game director and freelance artist, Trent Canigua. They've worked for Activision Blizzard, Riot, Capcom, Epic, and a bunch of others, and they made waves when they posted on social media saying, and I quote, AI art is now banned by many major game development studios due to possible legal copyright issues. Many old clients are amending contracts recently to end the use of AI art. This goes in line with what I predicted in several of my first videos on the subject. A lot of people have been kind of talking about this. Some developers chimed in, and it seems like it absolutely makes sense. But I want to point something out. I think that the big publishers, corporations, are banning artificial intelligence art specifically because of that, the copyright use. As you probably know, the AI art essentially pulls from a million different sources of actual real-world art, images, examples. So that can get them in legal hot water and cost them a lot of money. I think ultimately, if that aspect of it is figured out, these companies will not hesitate to jump on this train. And I don't say that that's a good thing. I'm not excited for that. Like, we can sit around and talk about the ethics of artificial intelligence and art and stuff like that, but I think when profit is involved and things can get done quicker and cheaper, corporations are always going to go for it. It's going to be interesting to see how the line is figured out, like where artificial intelligence, because it's growing like crazy, where it's going to be used to kind of help developers, where it's going to be used to replace developers. Like we've talked in the past about how, you know, procedural generation and like forests are built through artificial intelligence and stuff like that, but it still requires real human input. It's just a very interesting time, and I think to even say anything definitive on it right now is kind of silly because things are moving so fast. This technology, artificial intelligence, the new versions of GPT, like, are all developing so quickly that, like, I feel like right now we're just along for the ride and nobody could keep up. But that's just me. Sorry if that was a word dump. I've been thinking about this stuff a lot lately. Where were we? So that's really it. That's what we got going on this week. You know, hopefully next week we'll hear more updates about the Xbox Activision Blizzard acquisition stuff, and hopefully a couple of other new releases to talk about. But as of right now, let me know what you think about what's going on this week. Assassin's Creed Mirage, are you willing to wait to 2024? If you're an Assassin's Creed fan, of course. What are you playing this weekend? We'll have our pinned comment as usual. Let us know if you're playing Resident Evil. Let us know if you're playing an indie or something like that. It always helps us for catering videos to you guys. And what'd you think of that Zelda gameplay? Are you interested? Like, was that like a no-brainer for you already, or were you skeptical? Now you're on board. You're turned off. Let's talk about any of this stuff down in the comments. We definitely want to hear from you, and we'll be down there as usual. But things get a little crazy, so if you want to yell at me directly, Twitter, Instagram, at Jake Baldino. I use Instagram more now. My YouTube channel that I mentioned before, youtube.com/Jake Baldino. But that's it. We got to go back to work. Of course, as you guys know, we're here every Friday backing you up with some quick news stories and stuff like that. But if you like hanging out with us, all you got to do is click the like button. We very much appreciate it. But that's it for me. I got to go. Have a great weekend. Be safe. See you guys next time. Pizza's on me.